Wanted to make a quick ramble today, mainly covering one specific topic, which was talked about on the Winter Summit, which is the new Herblore-todt coming out to Varlamore. So I have a very strong feeling that this will pass regardless of what I say or what any other people say, because it is just some new content that could be potentially a lot of fun. But I want to just share a few thoughts on that. But first, I got my alchemical hydro pet, and I have just totally spooned this log. This is, I think, a couple nights ago, and it's just such a good feeling finishing this. Obviously, for an Iron Man, like, it's not bad to go dry on this because you just get so much disgusting loot. But I swear, even with all the changes they made, I still was just bored out of my mind doing this. So the cool thing about having completed this, like, I used to skip so many alchemical hydro tasks, literally just every single one I'd get, I would just skip it. Or I would just do the baby versions until I got the eternal gem. So that's why you're seeing like 7 completed rings here, which is, by the way, really nice that I completed these because I've fully blocked hydras now. But one of the nice things about it was that I'm only missing 1 dusk piece. So after I eventually finish full dusk, it's going to be a lot harder to have the desire to grind out Hydra, you know what I mean? If I didn't have the Hydra pet, because the only way you can get Hydra tasks is through Konar. So anyway, a very, very spoon-fed, very, very lucky. I was seriously like 5 kills before this. I had a distinct feeling. I was like, I swear I'm going to go like 10x rate of this shit or something. Like I just, like that fear you kind of start getting. But no, I just totally spooned it. And oh my god, when the collection log popped up, I don't see collection log pop-ups that much nowadays. But it's a good feeling. It's really nice. It was just like, it's just all the relief came flooding in. Also, I want to just share a few of my thoughts on Scurious. Scurious, I really want this pet, by the way. I think it's really badass. One of the things I was just joking around with Scott VC in his stream earlier was like, it would be cool if it was the transmog Scurry that was literally just the default baby rat model that like runs around in a little circle, around and just like peeks up and stuff. Like I actually thought that would be kind of cool to just have like a baby rat following you. But yeah, I don't know, just a quick little thought on that. But overall, the boss is great. It's literally exactly what I wanted. I'm not even gonna lie to you. It's just very, very chill, very few mechanics. It's made for a combat level 60. One of the cool things is when you get these Scurious spines, you can trade them in for antique lamps and get like additional XP. So, and I'm actually glad that they came out with a pet, and they did it in the right way where they allowed instances. One of the things that I was actually I guess I was just surprised at actually was the fact that they didn't allow Iron Man to mass it, which I fully understand. I think it really is just like a pick or choose sort of place where you will allow irons to mass with others. Like the wilderness bosses is a great example, raids obviously. But I actually do respect their decision to make it so Iron Man had to solo it. Plus soloing it is, I mean, it's piss easy. I mean, it's really chill. But I really like that it's actually just a very, very, very chill boss. It takes a full minute to kill it generally. And it's just chill, and I just like it. I think Jagex did a great job on it. I wonder if they're going to make any changes to it. I also like how simple the drop table is. It's just you get like a runite item, which is really cool. And yeah, so well done, Jagex. I think you did a really good job on it. And I would be like, if there are any lower level players that listen to my content and you want to give your thoughts down in the comments of it, like whether it fits your tier of account, your tier of stats, like let me know. I would be curious, because at least when you're maxed out, it's like you don't even need to bring anything. I mean, you just bring max and with a scythe and just annihilate it basically, and then occasionally you can get like a ancient god sword heal in or something, or pick up some of the trout that's dropped. Oh, also it drops food and it drops prayer pots. I don't believe it drops any clues though. Anyway, so that's pretty cool. Now I want to talk about Varlamore just briefly on their Herblore-todt idea. So the Herblore minigame, I'm just calling it Herblore-todt because that's, it's just the meme. But it worries me. I'm not going to lie. It actually kind of worries me that they're going to try to bring this out. Now, I am not against fun, interesting, engaging content, but it needs to be balanced somewhat with the meta. So obviously, so let me just kind of like go to the foundation of the problem, which I feel like it is. I could be incorrect on this, so just let me know. But I feel like the only reason this is coming out is because people now almost feel, and I'm not saying this, I feel like this word just gets a bad rap, but so I'm not trying to like victimize anybody, but it's like it feels that as another word that's triggering as well to people, so I apologize for using that as well. But I feel like people almost feel entitled to get like 99 in skills. So, and a big reason for that, like it's totally appropriate for people to feel that way because there's such thing as a max cape nowadays that has just the craziest broken teleports on it and just random perks you get and stats alongside of it. It's just a really, really busted cape. It's probably the best item in the entire game, to be fair. And now, I'm not saying that everybody that wants to get their Herblore level up higher is trying to get a max cape, but that feels like a pretty solid reason why people would feel almost obligated to eventually grind a 99 Herblore. If there was no such thing as a max cape, we could just make smaller changes. So if one of the other reasons is players want to get to chambers and make their overloads, at an easier, like, I don't know, just get there at a quicker point or something like that could have been discussed, but just like they could have made changes to chamber so it doesn't have such a high Herblore requirement for people to get into that content. So I feel like that could be a reason why people want to train their Herblore up. But for the most part, it's just people kind of feel this and sort of, I don't know, they feel like they need to get 99s in skills, which is fair. That's kind of how the game's gone. But the concern, so I just wanted to point that out because that's the whole reason this is going to be coming out, because Jagex is trying to cater to the players that want to get their skills up, which makes total sense, but they don't want to just have to spend a bunch of money and make potions repeatedly. Now, on an Iron Man account, it's amazing. Like, Herblore is such a valuable skill because you use all your potions. And you're going to have to continually do it anyway. Like, I'm 50 mil Herblore on an Iron Man, and I still have to upkeep my potions. Like, it's endless. So, anyway, it makes perfect sense on an Iron Man. It's just a traditional bank standing skill, which I don't believe there's anything wrong with that, to be honest. Also, let me just take a drink of water. Mouth is parched. And I don't think it's that bad to have skills like that. We have fletching as well. And some other ones, I think. Some are cooking. So, I don't know. I just think it's totally fine where it's at right now. And I think the perk really is that you can make really, really great potions. That is really just what main man mode is, in my opinion. Main man mode is kind of like you don't need to participate in many skills, especially these kind of bank standing skills, because you can just buy everything on the Grand Exchange. So I understand where they're coming from, and I just want to make it clear, I'm not really against new content coming out, but we have to keep in mind that Herblore is one of the most respected skills on Iron Man accounts, including UIMs. I mean, this shit takes forever. And it was meant to take forever, and it makes sense that it takes forever. It's a super, respectable skill to get up. It's always been notoriously slow, but slow because there's so many other things you need to get in place. Like, you need to kill monsters for herbs or herb seeds. You need to farm those seeds. You need to do constant farm runs. You need to get all the secondaries and stuff. It's a huge process getting this stuff up. With an Herblore minigame that comes out, there is a very high chance that it really just is sort of like a Winter-todt skinned Herblore, where you go in. This is my biggest fear. Is like you go in and you just have a bunch of herbs given to you that are untradeable and you can't do anything with them except inside the minigame. And you got some secondaries, and guess what? You just shove them all into like this pot, and then you can start throwing potions at a monster. You kill the monster, boom, yay, you got 20k Herblore XP at the end or something like that. And Jagex will propose something, and this is not saying that they're going to do this. I actually have a lot more faith in Jagex beyond this, but this is my biggest fear, is that it's something where you literally can just ad infinitum just grind this shit. And I'm talking about for Iron Man specifically. You can go in there with absolutely no supplies on a level 3 account and just start gaining potentially 200k Herblore XP an hour, and Jagex will think, okay, well, 200k Herblore XP sounds fine because, you know, technically the fastest way you can grind Herblore is, you know, upwards of, you know, 500,000 or more XP per hour if you're doing the most efficient method. So if we just, you know, cut that in half and then, you know, a little bit more, that sounds reasonable. You know, 200k XP an hour, that's totally fine. And, you know, maybe they'll have to bring food because, you know, like there will be some boss explosions or something, or like potion malfunctions. And, you know, so they have to use some supplies. That is the fear that goes through my mind about like what they're thinking. Is like, they're trying to be reasonable, but they're not actually getting at like the fact that this would just totally break Iron Man mode. And because, again, like what I'm saying is you would just have players that come out on a level 3 Iron Man or UIM, which would be even more disrespectful to the meta and to the players that have grinded this like in the, you know, quote unquote respectable way. And I understand, before anybody's like, the game moves on, it progresses, shut the fuck up. I understand that too. But I feel like that has to be a very slow progression. You know, that's like the best way to go about it. Like the game can progress, but having huge change ups that just completely fuck everything up and it just makes things kind of like unrecognizable is kind of bad for the game. And we got to keep the game's health and integrity in mind. Again, I'm not really against an idea like this, but my biggest fear is something like that, where you don't actually need any resources for it. You can get free, or, you know, quote unquote free Herblore XP. You don't have to get the secondaries. As a main account, it's probably totally fine. It's fine. So this is really talking about like the Iron Man accounts out there. But one of the things they could do, and this, you know, this is just an idea that popped into my head, where you could have all the fun and the engagement and the interaction and the, you know, MMO style minigame with some sort of Herblore-todt. Like, I'm not against the idea entirely. I have fear that it's going to break metas. But if you were to do something where you still need the resources, for example, you go into the minigame entrance and you're talking to the guy, and in order to proceed into the actual minigame, you have to give him noted herbs, you know, something like that. Something where, like, you know, imagine a main account that's like, I fucking hate sitting and making potions by myself at a bank for hours on end. So I would rather get all the resources that it would take to make these potions, but then just deposit them into this like cauldron at the entrance of this Herblore minigame, and then do a more engaging, fun, massive kind of minigame sort of style activity where I can get that XP, but I'm still having to use the herbs and potentially the secondaries. And I have to give them to this guy, and then that translates over to the XP in a more interactive way. And I think that would be like the most appropriate route you could go. Obviously, that sounds really odd. I actually don't think it's that wild of a concept. I think it would actually be kind of fine. That is actually something I wish Wintertodt would have done initially. Like, Wintertodt kind of broke the whole meta, but you know, like, fire making was, you need logs for, you know, the first few years of old school. If you wanted high fire making, you had to have a bunch of logs, which was expensive. And then they completely unraveled that and made it so you just get free logs here by chopping them in this mini game, and logs are no longer necessary. And on top of that, this isn't even something where you have to spend money to skill. We're going to give you crates. We're going to give you free loot, basically, at the end of these rounds. That would be kind of dangerous for an Herblore-todt. You're actually gaining loot and getting Herblore XP. So what would have been cool for Wintertodt is, like, you have to give the guy, like the pyromancer at the beginning, noted logs and be like, these are the logs I want to use in this minigame. Then there is no, you know, route that you're chopping. It's really going to this little section, and all the logs that you've already given to this guy, you're using those logs to throw into the brazier, you know, something like that. And then it truly would have been a fire-making minigame that requires the logs in the first place. You can't just go there on a level 3 and just get 99 fire-making as the first thing you do. It would have required you chopping trees in the main game, getting enough logs to participate in Wintertodt. And, you know, you could get your noted logs from Giant Mole and, like, the King Black Dragon and stuff. And, like, that would have been used for your Wintertodt experience. It's the same thing I would... Obviously, that didn't happen, and Wintertodt is what it is, but that would be a really cool thing to do for the Varlamore Herblore-todt activity, is just allow you to actually get the herbs first, give them to the guy, and then those are the herbs that are actually used inside of the minigame. So still get the best of both worlds for mains that don't like making potions. I'm talking to mains specifically because Iron Men just inevitably need to make potions for their account. Like they just have to. So I mean, and so then you might be thinking, because this might be on somebody's mind as well, if Iron Men already need to do traditional Herblore, then why is this a big problem? They're going to have to make potions anyway, so why not just allow them to participate in this minigame where, maybe they're not getting potions and they're still going to have to do it anyway. But I guess really the fear is that people can just grind to 99 Herblore immediately without ever needing the herbs, and then they can just make any potions they want without the journey of like very slowly progressing up the chain of new potions being made. And then on top of that, for the real big sweats, one of the things that would concern me is just players being able to grind to 200 mil Herblore on a level 3 account where they have 1 in all the rest of their stats, and they can just now randomly get 200 mil Herblore without any supplies. And that would feel exactly like Zaya RC did, where early Iron Man rune crafting was the most respected skill. I mean, it was just disgusting. You had to literally manually mine pure essence or grind wyverns just so much to get enough pure essence just to start traditionally rune crafting. And then Zaya RC came out, and hey, guess what? You don't need any pure essence anymore. You just do this activity that's baked in. Like you get the dark essence baked into the activity itself. Like you're forced to do this. So it just became a thing where now at a certain very, very, very low level, you can just grind to 200 mil RC very, very quickly. And it totally shot up the rates. You might think, well, ZRC is really slow. No. Traditional RC was way slower. When you're just doing RC, it's technically faster, but you have to keep in mind all of the pure essence you have to obtain, which takes so long, and they just broke that. So that is my biggest fear with this Herblore-todt, is just breaking the meta unnecessarily. And anyway, so let me know if I'm being unreasonable here. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. I just felt like I needed to make this video because, I don't know, I just get a little bit worried about this potential minigame coming out. But again, like what I said is that the way to go forward with it, there's probably other ways as well, but the idea I had just thought of on my stream was just you have to give the herbs to start the minigame. Like you are obligated to have the resources, and then you have a more interactive, gameplay that you can do to gain the same like Herblore XP. And who knows, maybe it can be a little bit, hopefully not as obscene as Giant's Foundry rates were, where like 1 bar equals God knows how much more XP than traditional anvil smithing. But you could do something where like a Guam, instead of being worth like 25 XP, maybe ends up being like worth 50 XP. It's like double the herbs. So there is an incentive to do the Herblore minigame where you only have to use half the herbs, for example. That would be fine. I would be okay with that. Don't go overboard like something like Scar Essence where you just 60x it for some fucking unknown reason. So maybe something reasonable like just 2x. That would be totally fine. And because you would be ultimately probably having a more slow experience. I don't know. It's hard to know. It's hard to balance these things, but I'm just kind of spitballing ideas. Anyway, that's all I'll say about this. I'm really curious what you guys have to say on this matter, so I'll let you talk down in the comments, and I'll read every single one of them. And if you guys see one that pops out, be sure to upvote it so we see like the good comments get brought to the surface, and we can have a nice little discussion on there. So thank you guys. As always, if you want to support my content, there's a Patreon and a YouTube membership link, and it greatly helps me as a creator. So thank you for all those that have supported me and continue to support me. And also be sure to drop a like on the video. That also helps with the algorithms. Thank you guys, and I will catch you later. Peace.